As you said, that I was a Bochur in Tafshin Lamed Ches. To be specifically, I was about 18 years old. And yes, I was zeicha to be there when we were zeicha to see the Rebbe coming out. But I will talk about it, but I think if I have to express the feeling of the Bochim at the time and what Rosh Chodesh Kislev meant to the Bochim, I want to just very quickly describe what happened in the yeshivas within the Bochim after Shmini Atzeres until Rosh Chodesh Kislev and after. Because this will describe and it will bring out a little bit the simcha, what happened in Rosh Chodesh Kislev, talking now specifically about the Bochim Kamuven. It was also with Anash and Shluchim and Vechulu Vechulu. So after what happened Shmini Atzeres, obviously for every Chassid, but talking about Bochim that are in 770, Bochim was leben mit dem Rebbe day in and day out, and every Shabbos and every Yom Tov. So what happened Shmini Atzeres by Akofes was something that really shook up every Bochur in his feelings of expressing the concern and the avo that we can bring to the Rebbe that the Rebbe should have a complete refuah shleime and even noch mehr wie sie gewähnt früher. And it did express in many, many ways, using just a few examples, and a lot of things that I'm going to say now are already printed in many Yumanim and many Megillas of Chodesh Kislev, v'chulu. But I'm just expressing it the way I felt and the way my chaverim, the Bachim at the time felt. And this was that every Bacher felt that they have to do something above and behind what was done until now. And one of the things that many Bachim took upon himself is that we were zeicha that the Rebbe was speaking Mitzvah Shabbos, Mitzvah Simchas Torah, Mitzvah Shabbos. There was a few Farbrengens, and the Rebbe was Magia, the Maima, Magia, the Siches, that the Maimorim, that every Bacher should try to not just learn the Maimorim, but to learn it Baal Peh. Another thing that every Bacher felt is the idea of Ashkem ve'arev aleim, that above and behind this Dorim, that every Bacher should learn either before the Seder in the morning, after the Seder at night. So besides the Tilim, besides everything else, there was a tremendous shinui by the Bachrim that they wanted to express their avo and concern about this whole situation. And of course, as after Shmini Atzeres, literally every few days, there was a lot of good news that came out. First was the Sicha Mitzvah Simchas Torah, then there was the Sicha Mitzvah Shabbos Bereshis, then there was answers that started coming out right after Simchas Torah, as mentioned before, and then there was the idea that the Rebbe is going to come out for Kriyas HaTorah, Shabbos morning, then Mondays and Thursdays, and the Rebbe asked right away Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan that they should open up the Zal upstairs because he wants the Bachim should come there and learn. This is Negea to him. So this was an expression from the Rebbe to the Bachim about how much it means what they're doing and how they're doing it. And then as it came closer to Rosh Chodesh Kislev, there was a lot of things that we were, Baruch Hashem, saw that things are coming back, and in a way, especially how Dr. Weiss described the situation, it was a miraculous way. It was unbelievable. For an example, Mitzvah Shabbos Vayetze Tes Kislev, the Rebbe spoke from his room for 2.5 hours. This was the famous Maimer V'Shavte B'Sholim, the Tavshim Memches. The Rebbe was Magia the Maimer, the longest Maimer that was ever said in the Rebbe's Nesias. And then there was a long Sicha. And if you think about it, 2.5 hours from the Rebbe's room, speaking almost directly without stopping, just for a few seconds, stopping from before the Maimer, after the Maimer. So we kept on seeing those developments, the good developments, the good news, and we increased the Bochur there, trying to find all. There was a lot of mivtzoim that was increased. So when Rosh Chodesh Kislev happened, the avo that was expressed by Bochim and by the Chasidim was kemaim aponim elponim, to show what just happened, that the Rebbe came out from 770 to go home. This was the sign of the greatest, highest point that everyone was waiting to see. Now to turn to Rosh Chodesh Kislev, so this was Thursday evening at about 7:35 around, that the Rebbe walked out from 770, opened the door, and he walked out as he used to many times when he walked out for 770 to go home. Sai when he was going home in the evening, 5, 6 o'clock, and Sai when he was going home at night, like 11, 12 o'clock, that he used to walk out with a manila envelope, sometimes a bigger bag, sometimes just the envelope. The same thing happened here. We don't know what was inside, obviously, but the idea that the Rebbe walked out in a way that he wanted to express that it's chazal lekadmusay, that I'm going home now, like with the envelope. And then when the Rebbe walked, he walked very slow from the upstairs, from the 770, from the door, going down the 2 steps, and then walking and looking around in every side. And of course, right away, everyone started singing Napoleon's March song, and the Rebbe tried to make with his hand a few times, but I'm sorry the way I'm going to express it, but we saw in the Rebbe's face the emotional feeling, the avo, what the Rebbe was expressing in an emotional way to the Chasidim around it. And the way he was looking, literally, not just looking in one direction a little bit, he was looking, while he was walking, looking in all around. And I expressed it last year by the longest Zoom Farbrengen, that it was a little bit me'ain. We know that after Tkiyas, when the Rebbe used to go back to his place, he also turned around and looked. And everyone felt, whoever was able to see the Rebbe's face, felt that the Rebbe is looking at him. And this was a little bit like this when the Rebbe walked down until he came to the car, when he looked around everywhere. And we all know what happened right afterwards, the dancing, and like I would say within 20 minutes after the Rebbe left, people went in right away to the Zal upstairs, and we started a Toreso and doing a kofis. It was like a feeling that now we are kind of, if we can say it, mashlim, and continuing the simcha of Shmini Atzeres through this akofis and the singing, and then of course downstairs we know what happened throughout the night, and then Shabbos after that it was in a certain sense even more than the night of Thursday night of Rosh Chodesh Kislev. And the simcha was growing afterwards because, again, as I mentioned before, we saw the development of the good news from the Rebbe throughout the weeks leading up to Rosh Chodesh Kislev, and we saw it afterwards. And there's a lot of stories how the Rebbe expressed, and it's all written already, how the Rebbe expressed to the doctors what he wanted to do. He wanted already to go to the oil, Erev Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. He was trying to convince the doctors that they should go to the oil. And about the letters, they wanted to withhold letters, and then the Rebbe says no. And the yechidus that the Rebbe had, as mentioned before by Rabbi Zaklikovsky, that the Orchim was passing by. It was something that the Rebbe expressed, and to him it was so important. Then the Orchim came here, and he wanted that at least to have this opportunity to have a yechidus. This is how the Rebbe called it, that they pass by and at least he has this 1 second with each Chassid, with each Eirach that will be there. And then afterwards, we know the Zeis Chanukah, and we know all of the the different Farbrengens, the Chodesh Kislev that the Rebbe came down the first time to Farbreng. Just another point that is not connected directly to Rosh Chodesh Kislev, but everything what happened in Lamed Ches before and after is connected to Rosh Chodesh Kislev. There were a number of Motzei Shabbos Farbrengens throughout the year of Lamed Ches that the Rebbe washed, he called it Sudas Malkas and Meshicha, and gave Koshel Bracha. There was Shvat, and there was Shabbos Parshas Tzav, and then there was Shabbos after Pesach, and then there was Shabbos Nitzavim right before Rosh Hashanah Lamed Tes. There was a few times besides Zeis Chanukah that we all know that it was officially the Rebbe's personal Sudas Eidoeh. But in other words, we saw the love and the connection that the Rebbe has to Chasidim, and Chasidim expressed the Kamayim Aponim Elponim, the love to the Rebbe that was expressed in this entire, what I call it, the episode of Lamed Ches. And the most important thing, at least as a Bochur, that I remember everyone talking about it, was when the Rebbe told Rabbi Groner to give over to Rabbi Yoel Khan for the Farbrengen Simchas Torah downstairs, a whole beer about the Nekuda was that at Tzimtzum is Bishvil Agilui, that the entire situation, what happened, we should look at it, that this is not something that the Tzimtzum is a Tzimtzum Bifnei Atzmai, but this is a Tzimtzum that brings out a greater Giluim. And we saw, after Lamed Ches, we saw Kipshutei Mamish, Begashmius, how the Rebbe, the spashtus of the Rebbe in every aspect, what we can think of for the years until Chav Zayin Oder, it was, and even afterwards, but till Chav Zayin Oder, Begoli, Begashmius, the tremendous amount what was done from the Rebbe Mitzadis Keiches, that Begashmias, we cannot explain it, just the way the Rebbe wanted it to bring out everything what happened in this Lamed Ches, in Shmini Atzeres, and Simchas Torah Lamed Ches, was something that the Rebbe wanted to bring to Chasidim. And I feel that this is something that we have to go away from Rosh Chodesh Kislev to strengthen and understand the Ave and the Iskashrus that every Chassid has to the Rebbe, and every Chassid has from the Rebbe, that everything in our life comes from the Rebbe, miteich Avo, miteich Avo Rabo, and we should be zeichet to zachzeh mit den Rebbe, take it from Biyad Begashmias, and then will be, whatever we had until now, will be much more and much more. L'chaim.
Amen. L'chaim v'levracha. Thank you, Rabbi Slonim.